Okay, folks, good evening and welcome to the Marshfield School Committee meeting on Tuesday, September 12th. Mrs. Pazurski, if you could please call the roll.
Mrs. Dargan? Mr. Greer? Mrs. Brady? Yes. Mr. Costello?
Here.
And Ms. Stetson?
Ms. Stetson cannot make it tonight. If you could please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please also join me in the Peace Builders Pledge. I am a peace builder. I pledge to praise people, to give up put downs, to seek wise people, to notice and speak up about hurts I have caused, to right wrongs, to help others. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day. Under the open meeting law, I'm informing the public that this meeting is being videotaped by Marshfield Community Media. If anybody else is taping this meeting, either audio or video, please notify us as such at this time. Seeing none, we're going to move on into our spotlight on excellence, and I'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Granatino, if you'd like to introduce that.
Sure. Well, actually, I'll let Dr. Martin say a few things here because she worked hand in hand with both Ms. Alpine and Ms. Hill. So I spoke briefly about our Educator Academy that we have every year before the start of the school year, and we had a little changeover in leadership of that organization. And Ms. Hill and Ms. Alpine took it on and worked with Ellen over the summer preparing for it. And Ellen, I'll let you run from there.
All right. So when I first started in Marshfield, this was one day during the summer that we had an Educator Academy with an induction program, trying to fit mentors in, trying to meet with the MEA. A few years after that, we moved it to 2 days over the summer, and now we are at 3 days, and Sally told me don't ask for another one. So we're at 3 days that our newly hired professional staff come together and they do a bunch of different activities. We've tweaked it over the years. We have a lot of different staff in the room lately, more than ever. So you not only have your teachers, you have nurses, you have school psychologists, you have social workers. So there's a bunch of different people who need a bunch of different things. So this year, Amy McAlpine and Ryan Hill took over as mentor coordinators, and they made some great changes to make sure that everyone's needs were being met. So I'm just going to turn it over to them because they have just a brief presentation for you to kind of show you the 3 days in action.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to share about this year. I just wanted to start by saying that we walked into an already amazing program. I think that it's such a great environment that is set up for this educator academy every year for people. So we felt fortunate to work with Dr. Martin and kind of pick up and move on from where it's been. So here's a picture of our group, which was so large we couldn't get everyone right tight in front of the screen, but we tried. But they were a fun group. They were really excited to be here, and as Dr. Martin mentioned, very diverse. So we had nurses, social workers. The smallest group was actually 3 classroom teachers, a lot of special educators. So it was really interesting to have such a diverse group to work with. And just a little bit by the numbers, Dr. Martin mentioned 3 days. We had 26 of the new educators attend, which is great, knowing that some of them had previous summer plans. We're still working. The 20 up there represents, we had 20 people from the existing Marshfield Public School community jump in and help out. So he helped us with some swag for prizes. We had Mr. Raven for the MEA, 2 of his colleagues. We had our math coaches, so whatever, Solaro, everyone just was willing to jump in and help out, which was awesome, and it allowed us to really differentiate, which was our goal for this, is to be able to welcome everybody, do some team building, but recognize people had different needs and roles and try and figure out how we're going to meet those. And then the bus and the ice cream we'll get to in a minute, but that was a fun tradition that was continued this year.
So just some of our goals that we set out at the start of all of this, again, building upon that historically strong, high quality education orientation that the first step started, I think their line was before that. So we were really lucky that we kind of walked into a good solid foundation. So we really have just had to build on that. The main thing is to create a welcoming first experience for the new members, because to work here, we want people to know that this is we also, like Amy said, it was such a diverse group that we wanted to meet those diverse needs. Because it wasn't just classroom teachers, like you said, they were actually the smallest group this year. So really we got to play to the crowd. Like our job is to provide that important information, so they want to know their schedules, they want to know how on earth do I log into Aspen. All of those first day things are so crucial to feeling acceptable and welcome and to feeling prepared as a new teacher or a new nurse, guidance counselor, or whatever they may need. We already give them the resources to make sure they succeed. This is just a glimpse of the diverse group that we had. So we had elementary and secondary classroom teachers, we had special educators, that's a pretty large group, an EL teacher, reading specialist, school psychologists, social workers, and another large group this year was the nurses as well. And we're going to be, kind of glimpses at the end of this, looking ahead, but we're going to be working throughout the year to make sure we're differentiating the new educator program, making sure that we're giving them what they need.
So we had talked about one of the things that we thought was really important was to embrace social emotional learning week as a tenet and a foundation of what happens in our schools every day. So we wanted to make sure that the environment you educators and employees experience. So the first day we traditionally have done some work around evaluation or getting people signed into different systems, and we thought this year let's hold off on that and spend the first day on some team building, really talking about the role of SEL in our schools, getting some other fun things. So this is just a picture of this room where we try to break it up into some centers and team building and different activities to just help people work through a little bit of the nerves that come with coming to a new job, get to know their colleagues who they have a chance to work with, and just share some of what they already knew, because we wanted to acknowledge and appreciate that a lot of them come with experience, and as much as we have some things to offer them, they have a lot to offer us as well. So it's very interactive. Here we go. That actually worked. This is a long-standing tradition, and Dr. Martin, maybe you can speak to the number of years. I'm not sure, but
It's probably 8. I think 8 years we've had Dairy Queen voluntarily kind of donating the ice cream. So, yeah, probably about 8 years.
so we wrapped up our first day with a great bus tour with our very own Mr. Mattis, who has amazing wealth of knowledge about Marshfield. We ride all over town so people can see the different sections of town. He gives some great information. People are really excited to just learn about the community that we're working in. And it ends at Dairy Queen, where everyone gets some ice cream and you're able to get a group shot here. It was a gorgeous day. So we left the day, we ended every day with some feedback, and people who left on a pretty high note. They were really excited and looking forward to the rest of the time.
I'm just saying that was my favorite part. My induction, so I was like, I have to do it again. It has to be done.
So the sessions for everyone piece just speaks to that differentiation. Again, we're fortunate to have Mr. Granatino spend some time with the group. We had Ethan Molander focus on digital learning, Amy Solaro and Patty Casey on special education, but then we were also able to break up by group and have the nurses meet with the nurse coordinator. And Furnaceburg had an exceptionally large group this year, so Principal Kevin was able to meet with them. Special education at the high school was able to meet with their group. So people had some time that was specific to their role and their department, and were able to get those questions that are really specific, maybe more to their role, their school answered, which people found very helpful as well. So you can see some of our presenters. These are some of the sessions I just mentioned.
So this is how we kind of wrapped up the whole thing on the third day. Again, we kind of went back to that warm fuzzy idea that we had for the first day, and we wrapped it up with warm fuzzy on the last day. They were able to meet their mentors, which they were pretty excited about, and those who didn't have mentors, we kind of split it up by buildings so that we got to know a familiar face, experienced face in their building, who they could go to. And something really nice that we had to do is write a letter to their future selves. So that there's always like a tough one. For me, So looking ahead, we not only did the induction program over the summer, but also taking charge of the Teacher Institute program, which runs throughout the year. I think it's 5 sessions this year throughout, between the end of this month and then the last one in May before everyone finishes up. We were trying to make, again, differentiation is kind of our watchword this year, making sure everybody gets what they need and also maybe most of this time as well. So the secondary folks are going to come in at 2:30 to 3 and have a session devoted to things that secondary folks need. The full group will meet 3 to 3:45, and then the secondary folks will leave, and the elementary folks will get their differentiated session at the end of the day. And this is just kind of a look ahead of what we have planned for this year. The first one is going to be about evaluation of progress reports, and this is right before we're required to submit our goals up on teach points, and we want to make sure that they feel prepared for that. Parent-teacher conferences, again, that's something people are pretty nervous about, and we'll have something a little different for those who are not into parent-teacher conferences. And then we wanted to kind of pull out January and March, because, again, it's such a different group. We kind of wanted to throw it over to them. We have stuff that we can give to them, but it's kind of what do you need at that point of the year. Maybe they need to look at how to build their canvas pages up. Maybe they need to look into UPD a little bit more. So we'll kind of play off of that. And then we'll end the year and a little bit about licensure requirements and kind of moving forward. So looking even further ahead, this year we're really excited. We're working with Alan on getting new mentors trained and kind of diversifying the pool of mentors that we have. Right now it's still kind of in progress, but we're looking at training new mentors for K-12. It's going to be after school in-person sessions, and we actually had so many people sign up. I was kind of amazed at how many people are amazed but not surprised how many folks in Marshfield are willing to step up and help new educators. The different teachers, nurses, psychologists, therapists, social workers, and parents. It's a lot of people. And then looking further ahead again, future years, we're hopefully going to create our own district mentor training to bring back to Marshfield. And yeah, hoping to increase the number of staff able to mentor just like we did this year. And that's a wrap.
Well, thank you very much. That is very impressive. We appreciate you being here to share with us. A lot certainly goes into that. And I really appreciate seeing the forward thinking and saying that, look, this year was a great success, but how can we build on that even more and make it successful in the future? I think that's great. Any questions or comments from members of the committee? Awesome. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. Okay. We're going to move into our informational. Yeah, let's take the students first. Let's take our student representatives first as our informational session begins. Great.
Ready to start off at elementary school information. It's a good start to the year. So every school had a welcome Wednesday on the first day, where all members of the Marshfield Police and Marshfield Fire Department greeted the students at the entrance for their first day. Also, a notice was given out about the new mandatory walking and games that are available to all elementary school families this Saturday starting at 10, pretty sure until 12. It's at the Coast Guard Hill area. To start off, we have Denver Webster. They first did a Thursday day of attitude and gratitude, so they give the students an opportunity to say what they're grateful for, thankful for. They also have the fall 2023 season begin, start of next week. Amesway, they made a peace builder theme. It takes all kinds of fish to make a school. So they started making a little aquarium where they see creatures in hallways and really cute. And they also had a spirit day, which was just very green and show the spirit first. Government Quinzo, they had a great start to the year. They also did the attitude of gratitude, but instead they built jars of things, initiative, reasons why they did control. Also, Martin City, grade 5, band and strings began yesterday, and grade 4 started next Monday. Also, Picture Day is next Tuesday, and they also had a Marshfield Spirit Day last Friday. And then lastly, they have South River. They also had a Spirit Day last Friday. They have Picture Day this Thursday, the 14th. Picture Day was held last Thursday on the 7th. Auditions for the Willy Wonka theater production were yesterday, and on Thursday the 14th, back to school night is with the most where parents can leave their children's teachers. And then for the high school, Picture Day was held on August 30th and 31st. On September 6th was the back to school night where parents can leave their children's teachers. And then the Marshfield High School Music Department Cookout is next Friday, the 22nd, and tomorrow is the early release date for the district.
Great. Did you guys have a good start to the school year? Good. Glad to hear it. Senior year, there we go. Love it. That's awesome. Thank you both very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to take public comment next. If there's any member of the public that wishes to address the committee, now is your time to come forward and do so. Seeing none, we'll move into the next piece of the agenda, which is the MEA update. We'll recognize Mr. Raymond, President of the MEA. Mr. Raymond has the start of your school year.
It's all right.
Good.
So, kids are good. We're starting off just fine.
Glad to hear it.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'll continue to work on my brevity reputation here. I will start by piggybacking on the mentor program and say from our perspective just how grateful we are. So the work that Dr. Martin, Ms. Hill, and Ms. Galpine put together is not just, I won't rehash that I don't have a presentation. It's just me. I couldn't follow that up. I won't rehash it, but from the perspective of MEA president and representing teachers, to have new educators come in and report back to you informally that they felt welcome, they felt like people knew what they were doing and cared about them. That's the kind of start that teachers need to have a good start to the year, to feel welcome here, and to give the best work that they can to these kids. I wanted to say that a few of the members that I spoke to, a few of my colleagues who had worked at other districts, had said, it's not a competition, but comparisons I suppose are important to a degree, that they felt it was a better experience than they'd had in other places. And it was 8 years ago when I did it myself, and I felt very welcome here. It's just an incredible thing that Dr. Martin and Ms. McAlpine and Ms. Hill have done, and I want to thank them for that. And tell you from our perspective, people just felt like they were welcome, and it was wonderful. We're really grateful. I just wanted to very quickly highlight a couple people. I know the last time I was in high school as well, I promise I'll get to the elementary and middle school as well, but that's where I work as I'm getting through things. I wanted to very quickly highlight the kind of above and beyond work that two teachers that are doing at Marshfield High School, Jen Hickey and Eve O'Brien. They are working in particular, not exclusively, but they're working in particular with our EL student populations, and they are working with district admin, with Mr. Yakubian, EL experts at all kinds of levels in the district. It's obviously a challenging population of students to work with, depending on their background, what they come in with, and Ms. Hickey and Ms. O'Brien have done a tremendous job in stepping up and taking ownership of these classes. And in the two and a half weeks that we've been in school, I just wanted to make sure that they're very quickly recognized for their work that they're doing with our EL students. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And with that, I'll turn things over to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Very much appreciated. Okay, we'll head into the informational section of the agenda. Okay. Mr. Granatino, go right ahead. Yes, sure. Would the rest of the committee would you like to do
That's
that?
what
Okay.
I wasn't.
Okay, so we'll move informational to the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is close, yeah.
Great. Yeah, why don't we do that? Let's start with our friends from VIP Tires and Service. Why don't you come on forward? We have a donation that you'd like to make, and I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Granatino.
Yeah, very briefly, VIP Tires and Service, they're located right there on the street there, not too far from the middle school. Great organization. I was contacted by Lynn Campbell, who's the director of marketing and advertising, and she told us about this special they were running this summer. Back in mid-June, I guess they started it. It's what do they call it? Oil changes for education, and they were giving $10 oil changes, and 100% of the proceeds during that special went to the local schools. So in Marshfield, it was 287 oil changes and led to $2,870 of a donation that these gentlemen here, if you want to introduce yourselves, are going to be presenting to the schools.
So I'm a store manager of that location. My name is Dustin. I've been there for 3 months. Just as long as the store has been there. Great company. Company is definitely a public community. We're very excited to be in Marshfield and to make this donation to the schools. And we're going to be here for a very long time. And we're going to keep getting some more donations. Derek?
Hi, I'm Derek. I come from the old store. VIP took over my location. I'm part of the community here. I've been in Marshfield, working here for 4 years. Was born and raised here. Has since moved out. This oil change for education, as soon as I heard about it, was completely on board with it. I'm a very supporter of donating to schools. I thought it was absolutely great that all the proceeds that took for this were put to the local school system. The schools need all the help they can get, and I'm very glad to find out being able to help out.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, folks.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. That's incredible. That's a really cool program. Mr. Greer, do you have something to say? There we go.
Sure you want to do this? No, I just want to, I think it's great when companies, local companies especially, get involved in the community. We really appreciate both the gentlemen coming here tonight and giving us that donation. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Any other members of the committee wish to say anything? Awesome. Do we have a motion to accept the donation from VIP Tires and Service? So moved from Mr. Greer. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? That's a 4-0-0 there, Mrs. Pazerski. Thank you so very much. Yeah, let's do that. Absolutely. And right here in front of our man. Yeah, round of applause.
Yeah, we'll take the picture and we'll send it to you. Here, you know what? I'll use your phone and then I can have Tony.
This one, anyway.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll donate this one.
Give that to Lauren.
Oh, actually, I'm just on show check.
Wonderful.
Again for my next
Yep. July 24, we'll look for members. Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Good stuff. Give that right to Tom. We're going to keep going with the new business here and recognize the DECA folks. If you could come forward, here to talk about their request to travel to a conference in Texas in November and then another conference in California.
Yes.
Awesome.
So we are getting ahead of the curve this year, so we wanted to obviously first come for our first out-of-state trip planned for November, but also while we're here, talk about our trip in April and May in California as well. So our first out-of-state trip would be the Power Trip, which is hosted by National DECA. The location changes every year, so this year it will be in Austin, Texas. We have not gone on this trip since pre-COVID, so we're looking forward to bringing our officer team just as a team building event for those 10 to 12 individuals that lead Marshfield DECA every year. On that trip, really the primary focus is a lot of networking skills, learning labs focused on like college and career readiness. There's also opportunities for them to just learn how to lead a chapter, get things to add to their toolbox to be a leader, them just to expand their knowledge about the competition aspect of DECA as well, and practice and all of that fun stuff. So this trip would be entirely covered by the Marshfield DECA program, so students would not be paying anything out of pocket for that trip. Our officers worked hard over the summer to secure sponsorships from local organizations, so each officer raised at a minimum $1,000 for the program, so we have over $12,000 that was raised for Marshfield DECA this year, which is great, just by those 10 to 12 individuals that really are working hard. So this is kind of their reward for being able to do all that hard work over the summer and just start the year off great and work together as a team and lay the foundation for all the fun stuff we have planned this year. Anything you want to add about that trip? No? Any questions about that trip?
Any questions on the power trip? Mr. Greer, I know you're very familiar with the power trip.
Yeah.
The lag up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I give Mr. Greer a hard time. I never mean, I'll look at the camera. I never mean it. Go ahead, Mr. Greer. Wow.
Yeah.
I like you.
I'm in favor of both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, it's very right. Every time one of my kids goes into it, it's like they never come back. They experience things and then move away. Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Okay. Sure. So why don't we take it this way? Let's see if there's any questions on this first trip. We'll ask them to speak about the second trip, which I'm sure folks might have something to say as well, and then we can move each one individually. So we'll have two separate motions once they've had a chance to explain both trips. But I agree with you, Mr. Greer. I think this is a great program. Obviously, very well run.
And you're still in.
I'm still in it.
You got an officer.
Been a member since 2011 with Marshfield DECA, so.
Nice. Here we go, Megan. That's awesome. Any other questions or comments on the first trip? Okay. Turn it back over to you.
We're being proactive this year in seeing how we have come forth for a power trip. We figured that we try to kill two birds with one stone and discuss permission to attend our International Career Development Conference that is in April. This is the third level of competition that our students would have to qualify to compete at. Typically in the past we've brought anywhere between 10 to 15, I think maybe as many as 18 students, but approximately we anticipate about 10 to 15 students to qualify to move on to our international conference. That's going to be in Anaheim, California this year. Again, each year it kind of rotates to a different location, and that is going to be on April 27th through the 30th. And Mrs. Weber and I pretty much anticipate our numbers being about the same based off of our membership and just kind of our longevity of the program. So these students would travel to the final level of competition where they would compete against peers from all over the country, all 50 states, Puerto Rico, Guam, Canada, sometimes China comes, sometimes Germany comes. So it's an amazing opportunity for them to be in one place with 25,000 of their peers from all over the country and the world competing in their area of expertise, in the business field. And we're coming early because airfare keeps going up, and if we can get approval, as soon as the students qualify in March at our state conference, then Mrs. Weber and I can see to travel plans and booking tickets sooner rather than later. It's kind of difficult to know exactly how many tickets or how many students we're going to have until that second week in March. So again, it's an amazing opportunity for our students. They do pay a small portion. It's typically for their meals and any entertainment, but I would say 80 to 85% of the cost really comes from fundraising on the students' behalf, generous donations from our community members, and then any money that we raise and make through our Graham Center school store that our DECA students run, and we're also on a concession stand again this year at the football game. So a lot of our funds get generated from a variety of sources. We really try to keep the costs down for those students, and then we do help with aid directly from Marshfield DECA, and then Mass DECA has some state aid to help students who may have some financial difficulties attending. So we wouldn't want anybody to not be able to afford that opportunity to attend. So yes.
questions or comments from you? Do you have anything to add?
I just want to thank them, thank you both for all you do. And it's, the DECA program is really something that makes, a lot of things that make Marshfield High School and the district stand out. But the DECA program, and you are known around the region for the success and the participation level and the enthusiasm that your students bring to the table when they perform in all these different events. And it's great to see from my lens. I love that stuff, and see that many kids involved in something that not only helps them here, but it helps prepare them for the future as well. It's just a great program. We get to do this with you all, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Couldn't agree more. You guys are an absolute highlight of Marshfield High School. Thank you for everything you do. And I know Mr. Greer mentioned it too, that his kids are beneficiaries of it. And there's many students that I've had through the government who are beneficiaries of it. You can see. Yep. Do you really? Wow. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. See, there's a lot of kids that you've been impacting in a positive way. So, thank you. Chair will entertain a motion, as long as there's no further questions or comments, to approve the trip to Austin, Texas for DECA from November 17th to 19th, 2023. Is there such a motion on the floor? So moved from Ms. Brate. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you very much. That's a 4-0-0. Chair will also entertain a motion to approve the DECA trip to Anaheim, California from April 27th to the 30th, 2024. Is there such a motion on the floor? So moved from Ms. Brate. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? That's 4-0-0 as well. Have fun.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Let us know how it goes. We can do a spotlight of excellence afterwards to hear how it
We have
goes.
our first membership meeting tomorrow.
Awesome. Good luck.
Ice cream party.
There we go. Not bad. Mr. Grantino will be there.
This food, I find my way over there.
Thank you so much. Okay. We are moving through our agenda here, folks. So that knocks out our new, no, we have one more. Why don't we take one more item of new business first, which is the MHS bench donation from the class of '83. We'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Grantino.
Sure. So, Mr. Brian Murphy, who many of you know, was a representative of the class of 1983, and he came forward a couple weeks ago with a request, with a donation from the class to have a bench put in honor of the class of '83. The plan, the goal is to have it set up kind of if you're approaching the entrance by the Ram to the left, kind of the walkway that goes along and passes the weight room, then passes the doors that lead to the gym on the school side of the fence from the football field, kind of that grassy area there. In case people are walking, waiting there for events or whatever, there's a bench that they can sit at. So that was a great idea. They sent some plans I got in the folder with the bench would look like, and I have not talked to Fred or Tony from facilities, but I don't think this is going to be a problem with having this installed. And I know Mr. Murphy was very excited, and members of the class of '83 were excited to make this donation. So I think in honor, in honor of their 40th anniversary, their 40th reunion,
That's awesome.
they're looking to do this.
That's great. Okay.
Kind of your generation, Mr. Greer, but a couple years older than yours, right?
Class of
Yeah. Very kind gesture of the class of '83, and I highly support it.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Will it say class of '83?
So that name that's on that picture is not going to be there.
Right, no, I understand that, so wondering what it's saying. Are they gonna run it by?
Yeah, I think they would want to let us know. Yeah, we need to know. Yeah.
Okay. I assume so.
No, I can follow up.
I
I can follow up with him and report back to you folks next meeting.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, thank you. Get that up.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to accept the gift from the class of '83? So moved from Ms. Brate. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? 4-0-0 there. Okay, 2 items left on our agenda before we move into the informational and then our minutes, maybe, if we have enough folks here. Why don't I turn it over to you, Mr. Granatino, for the strategic plan visual? You want to do that first?
I'm hoping this is help. I may have turned things off on me. Well, this is warming up. You want this to sign in there? Why don't we do the search process first?
Okay.
Everything is set up.
Okay.
I just don't know. Of course, that's it.
Yeah, she just had to step out real quick.
I will, this is on, we do it before we get there. Oh, it's gonna be on the screen, it's gonna be on the screen, it's on. Oh, no, yeah, you gotta sign it, it's there. No, but it's right, it's on the desktop. Yeah, but not, if you sign it, it's just there. All right, so I don't want to belabor the point too much, but we, back in June, had a presentation on the strategic plan. The committee voted, obviously, in favor of the new plan. It's a great process. Folks in this room made it possible. We had a draft version of what it looked like. It had nothing to do with, it had all the nuts and bolts of the plan, but how it's going to look when we put it on our website, when we have some kind of dashboards that we can hand out easily so people have an idea of what it all entails. This is what the folks who work with us, TLA, Dr. Morstell and his team worked with us and helped us create. So I'm just going to go through it. I'm not going to regurgitate everything. Just give you an idea of what it will look like on the website. Content, table of contents here. Again, the plan, the members, the summary, the mission, the core values, the vision, the theory of action. The most important part are four pillars, what the action plan is going to look like, and then the dashboard is kind of a one-page document that we'll be able to use in a number of different places. A quick welcome comment from me. Again, even wording when I'm writing stuff is 2 days long, sorry. These are the folks that were part of the committee, from our central office folks, school committee, educators, students, parents. It was a very collaborative group of people that put this together. And then there's just a lot of fun pictures from around the district that's really, I think, will attract folks when they see it. Just kind of summary of the process, the 3 phases: building the foundation of it, building the plan, and then implementing the plan. Kind of goes into a brief description of this. So those folks at home that might not be familiar with what the strategic plan is all about, this gives them a nice tutorial on what it entails, the different phases that we went through, putting it together. And again, just to remind yourself that this is back since June's talking about it last. So much of the plan came from feedback that we got from surveys, from focus groups, from just one-on-one type informational, anecdotal things with our school environment. A lot of data that came from student work, from teacher feedback and surveys. Again, I think we had more data than any of their strategic plans that they put together last year. I think they did 9. So we had the biggest data count, for lack of a better term, that helped us build this plan. So that was really helpful. And then this is just a kind of summary of the mission statement, our core values, our vision statement, and then the theory of action that we have in place now. And then this is kind of our core values and our little wheel here, and with our mission and our vision. And again, this one sentence here took, I don't know, an hour, 15 minutes, and our vision before was actually longer than our mission. We had a really long vision from 5 years ago, which we thought was awesome then. This one is, I think, is a home run as far as what we're looking to do and what we want to see them do in the future. And then we got some pictures of our team. these are the pillars. These are the things that are really driving us as I feel like all the big rocks. Equity, belonging, wellness, teaching, learning, and leading.
Maybe you are a pillar.
Our pillar. I don't know how they did that, but I didn't ask their strategy behind pictures. And then management and operate, community engagement, and then management and operations. And then for each of these pillars, there was strategic objectives, range from 2 to 3 to 4 for each pillar. And then for each of these objectives, there was actions that were going to be taking place. These were going to be outcomes that we're looking for from the actions. There was a rough timeline that we follow, and then point people who will be involved in making sure that these things happen. And just so you know, at our retreat back in July, we spent time focusing on all the objectives that were focused on 23-24 and coming up with initial game plans as far as how we're going to attack them. And there was, I think, 4 that we focused on, and we had different subgroups working on them. And we started beginning that conversation today at our leadership meeting. So we're excited about that. There's still a few little edits. Thank God we have Ms. Mazursky. She notices every little thing. So notice how this is a space, double space, but it's double space everywhere else. She can get that really well. So the little things are being tweaked as we speak, and it'll probably be finished by tomorrow.
Nice. Good catches.
Then again, these are the other objectives under pillar 1. Again, same makeup. So we go through these. I'm not going to go through each one. Just give you an idea of what it looks like visually. So when people see it, they're going to have an idea of what we're doing. When we go to town meeting and we're seeking funding for program on SEL or something tied to technology or something for our internship program, it's all going to come back to this document, which is what it should be. We've done a good job. I think I know we do a better job making sure that folks understand there's a rhyme of reasons that everything that we come forward with to the town, and it's this plan that's driving those point I can make. So this is again teaching and learning and leading, I should say. Objectives tied to NTSS, multi-tier systems of support, which we're familiar with. We talked a lot about here. Align our practices and transitions across the district, preparing our students for postgraduate life. These are the objectives that came about from those 6 meetings that we had as a team. Community engagement and communications today. Communication was a huge bit of feedback we got from our stakeholders, and praising a lot of the communication that's going on, but highlighting areas where there needs to be more of it. So we spent a lot of time figuring out how we want to approach this part of the plan. So we have a few different objectives that Brian played us for. And then we go to the management and operations. This is kind of our budgetary stuff, our technology, and making sure that our learning environments have what we need. Of course, we have to have pictures from Mama Mia and all that fun stuff in here. So I think I know those people there in the middle. And then again, we have 4 main objectives. Under management and operations. So we go through this, and then this is that dashboard that this might be front center on the front page of our website, so people can see this, and then there'll be a link to the whole plan. But this is it in a nutshell. I mean, our pillars, our mission, our vision, here are our core values, and then we are Marshfield where everyone belongs. That's part of it. So much nicer visually than what we had before. Before was being just kind of spit back fast. And we knew there was going to be something like this down the road. So we're excited to be able to put this up on the website and start attacking the plan. So a lot of effort went into it, and a lot of great ideas from across the district, from parents, from students. Again, Tyler Panero and Barney Wayne. I'm sorry? Maria Turner. Sorry, she's working as a team manager for the football team the other day. Fantastic. They were great. They worked on the plan. I mean, everyone's worked great, but for 2 juniors at that time to speak up and add so much to the process, and Maria worked great for the students.
That she did, yeah.
That obviously made an impression on me. But we're excited, so no need to take any action. It's just information I want you guys to see before we put it up on the website.
Well, whoever did the graphic design work on that did a fantastic job. It's very visually appealing and easy to read.
Yep.
And just about perfect. We'll get it there.
Tomorrow will be perfect, and then we'll throw it up on the website.
That's great.
All right.
Any questions, comments? Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And our final agenda item of the evening is the superintendent search process, because you have decided to leave us.
Yes, I think enough folks know about that now.
Yes.
They're already looking to get rid of me, so that's fine.
Never.
But there's a process, obviously, that you folks have to take part in, and everyone does it a little differently. But I think, there's a good understanding from some of the folks in the room who've been part of the previous searches, how this can look, but it's also new for some folks. And there are entities out there that work with districts on a daily, yearly basis, and helping them through the search process. The two biggest ones are MASC and NASDAQ. And MASC was the organization, the Association of School Committees from Massachusetts, that ran the search and coordinated the search with the school committee here 9 years ago when I got hired. And then there's also another one, Cape Cod Collaborative, that does work. So we solicited packages from all three of them in accordance with state regulations around that. Talked to Tom and we went through the similar process as we did before. Some of the rules have changed from 9 years ago. But we reached out, got back proposals. We did discuss some of them because they were contractual in nature and executive last meeting. But now before the committee is the opportunity to decide which organization they would like to go with. Again, they all do similar things. Breaking down the costs are all about the same from a cost standpoint, although MASC might be a little less expensive when you take in some of the add-ons that are part of the NASDAQ proposal. I know MASC has worked with the committee before. They worked with us after I got hired and doing some policy work that you and Mr. Greer were a part of. So we are familiar with them.
They were great.
They were great work. And NASDAQ's a great organization. I think I mentioned before when I was at Canton, they were the group that worked with Canton that hired me. So I'm familiar with them both. They're both great organizations. I don't think we can go wrong with either one of them.
Okay. So I think the way I'd like to take this item, if it's okay with you, Mr. Granatino, is if you folks have questions or comments you'd like to make, or any questions that you think Mr. Granatino might be able to answer, would ask you to answer those. But I'd like to kind of put you on the spot, Mr. Greer, for a quick second, because you and I came in together, so I wasn't on the committee when your search happened, but it was your first year on the committee, so you did work with MASC, and just kind of wondering what your experience was, if you want to let us know.
Well, so I had a great experience with them, right? So there's a couple folks from there that are very familiar with our district. So I'm going to be advocating for them for a number of reasons. One being the familiarity with the district. If you look at the packages and you break those down, I think the services that we need, MASC has that built into the price where we may have to pay a little bit extra with the other ones. And they got us Jeff.
That's a very big selling point.
Yeah, it's a selling point. But we do, with Glenn Kuchar as well.
He's great.
Yeah, he's great. He walks us through the whole process, explains every little aspect of what to look for in a superintendent, how to even go, search for one, right? They conduct the search on our behalf, but they keep us in the loop the entire time. As I remember, there was probably a handful of meetings that we had leading up to that, as far as Glenn coming in and explaining the process step by step to us. And then actually they manage all of the CVs that come in and help us. They facilitate the meetings to do the interviews and all of that. So, I would be in favor of using them for that reason. And then also with, I'm drawing a blank here, who came in for policies?
Was it Jim?
It was Jim. Jim Hardy. Yeah. Also
very thorough.
Very thorough, very familiar with the district.
That was months.
Yeah. And what I find with them, where they're familiar, the familiarity with the district, what they do, they scale to be appropriate for our district, as opposed to just selling us a bill of goods or not really knowing what we need.
Right. Well, that's very helpful insight for me, and I'm sure for the rest of you as well. Obviously, this is one of the biggest undertakings our committee as a group will ever have to do. Right? This is a major thing for us to be selecting whoever takes Mr. Granatino's position next year. Yeah, I'd pick them all over again if you could.
Never. Mr. Greer.
Please.
When you're talking about them being familiar with the district, are you referring to the fact that you worked with them before, or
question.
Like, does everyone know them?
Oh, well,
What are you talking
I mean, Jeff and Sean and I know them.
Personally or professionally?
Professionally.
Professional.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do know Jim somewhat on a personal level, but that's through an organization that we both belong to. But I was surprised to actually see him here when I ran into him. But their familiarity is on a business level, not a personal level. They live in, relatively close, but they don't live in Marshfield. Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody else? Start. Okay. I tend to agree with Mr. Greer. Just reading the proposal, it makes a little more sense to me to use MASC. The fact that they're our organization as school committee members says a lot to me. Previous experience with them says a lot to me. They have a great reputation. Not that the other organizations don't. NASDAQ, thank you. Not
Fantastic.
Yeah, right. They have a good reputation as well. But MASC, at least to me, seems to be the way to go. So if folks agree with that, I'd entertain a motion to select MASC for the superintendent search. Unless there's any questions, that motion can be made later if anybody else has any questions or comments. Okay, well, that motion could be made if anybody's so moved from Mr. Greer. Is there a second? Second from Mrs. Dargan. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. That's a 4-0-0. Thank you.
I will contact Mr. Kuchar, and again, most of the work will be done with you folks. I really make a big part of the process of it, and just kind of facilitating things back and forth. And again, if you go through their plan, their kind of target date lines, if you started Labor Day, or past Labor Day, if you started Labor Day, they're hoping to be done by the end of December. So if we're starting,
That'd be great.
a month later or 3 weeks later, it might be mid-January, which I think is still ahead of the curve in getting the best candidates to look at.
I agree.
Because they'll,
Is this process to be laid out by dates, these dates and set at a time?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll speak with them.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll be having a
yeah,
conversation.
you'll be able to have a
Glenn very
conversation
soon.
with them
Yeah.
as far as, it's, working with them to set up the time frame, to set up the makeup of the search committee, because there is a search committee that does not entail all 5 members. So usually it's 2 members from the committee, and then whoever parents, staff.
And I would like to just share with folks, if we are doing a search committee with 2 committee members, that will most likely be myself as the chair and Laura as the vice chair. So we'll discuss that further in looking at dates. If there's conflicts unavoidable, we'll discuss that as it comes, but I think that's the appropriate way to do that.
But then everything else that comes back to the full committee becomes
Right.
time for meeting candidates.
Yeah, once we narrow it down, we get 3 candidates. We as a committee perform the interviews. We bring each one of them in.
Right.
So if I may suggest, I'm sure you're already thinking this, is reaching out to Marty, because
Yeah.
she was involved with the last.
Absolutely. I'll be having a
Yeah.
conversation with Marty.
Yeah, because she went through this
Yes. She went through it a few times.
a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And as you know, Marty and I are very close, and I will be.
yeah. And she did a phenomenal job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me at all. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments before we move on? Okay. We'll head into, why don't we take the minutes first really quickly, and then we can end on the informational.
I only had one set, and I know that I've asked a few times, but I only had one set.
There is one set in the packet that was given to us, but I believe there's a couple sets that have been.
Our previous.
Yes.
previous packets.
Yeah, so I just copied them into today's draft.
You did?
Yes, just now.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
I'm just not sure.
So 912 is in there, and 620 is in there as well.
620 and 829. But the 829, just share the executive session. I don't have full meeting minutes in there yet.
Okay. So walk through this with me here, Mrs. Pazerski. Let's do June 20th first, because we can do these ones looking at the attendance. The 2 absent members were Mr. Greer and Ms. Stetson, so the 3 of us, Mr. Greer, where you were absent, you'll just abstain. But Ms. Dargan and Mrs. Brady and myself were all eligible to vote. And once you've had a chance to review that, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 20th, 2023. So moved from Mrs. Dargan. Second from Mrs. Brate. Thank you very much. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 301. Thank you very much. There's also executive session meeting minutes from that date, June 20th, 2023. And again, this would be a motion to approve and release, and this would be a roll call vote. Is there a motion to approve and release the executive session meeting minutes? So moved from Ms. Brate. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Dargan. Thank you very much. It's a roll call. Mrs. Pazurski.
Mrs. Dargan?
Yes.
Mr. Weir?
Abstain.
Mrs. Brady? Yes. Mr. Costa?
Yes, that's a 301 again. Thank you very much. 8/29, August 29th. I only see executive session meeting minutes for that date. That's all that there is. Thank you. Mrs. Brate, this would be an abstention from you. 8/29, August 29th. And again, this would be the same deal as executive session meeting minutes. This would be a motion to approve and release. So moved for Mrs. Dargan. Was there a second? Second from Mr. Greer. That's a roll call as well. Mrs. Pazurski.
Mrs. Dargan?
Yes.
Mr. Weir?
Yes.
Mrs. Brady? Abstain. Mr. Costa?
Yes, thank you. That's a 301 as well. Awesome. We are moving through the minutes here. We have the meeting minutes from,
That's it.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's correct. Wow. Okay, great. Awesome.
Yes.
Good stuff. All right, moving on into our informational. I'll turn that over to you, Mr. Granatino.
Right. Some of them already mentioned. Just want to highlight the opening of our newest school in town, our Marshfield Early Education Center, 255 Front Street had its opening, as did our preschool at David Webster last Wednesday. Went off flawlessly. The team over at the middle school, at the preschool did a fantastic job. Probably a little later on, we'll thank all the folks that made it possible, but from Fred, Tony, to the work that Tom did, the work that Courtney Coots, she spent hours there herself. She had her family there helping clean things up and organize things. The teachers worked overtime on their own to make sure the rooms were set up. I think when we last met, they had the open house the week before it opened, and it was highly attended. And then for us days of school, parking was great. Drop off, pick up, went fine. It's a little busier this week, partly because I think parents got the feel of things, and then some of them start coming a little earlier. And by doing so, it backs some cars up, but we'll work that out. It hasn't been anything that can't be addressed. But the classrooms, if you're in there, it looks like the kids have been in those rooms for years. Really comfortable, very active, vibrant. The students are having a blast, the teachers are having a blast. It's just a nice feeling, and I'm really happy about that for the kids and for the staff and the families. A big week with our partnership, ongoing partnership with Marshfield Police and Marshfield Fire. They alluded to the Welcome Back Wednesday that we had as part of our Just Say Hello opening for the district for the year. Last Wednesday, we had firefighters and police officers at all of our schools welcoming students back. Then we had a chance to highlight the first responders or police and firefighters Friday night football game. Some of our folks here were able to be a part of that ceremony as well. And then yesterday we had the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony over at the fire station where police and fire were in attendance, as well as most of our staff here from the Ventus was able to walk over and be part of that. Just a really special event yesterday, obviously very meaningful and solemn event. But a week of really highlighting that relationship that we have with our first responders. And even today, we had a meeting that Ms. Baker was able to be at with the EOC, the Emergency Center, to just get ready for the hurricane that's working its way up the coast. And as of today, we might be in a little bit better position as far as not taking the direct hit. Just as I say that, it'll probably switch over.
Right. Thanks, Jeff.
But the modules that the smart people were showing us said that it's going to miss us, from a direct hit, but still a lot of wind, a lot of rain, a lot of waves, some really big waves and some heavy rains coming Saturday for the most part. It's going to be the worst time for us, so I think we're going to be able to make out okay in the classrooms. In the school front, I don't think there'll be any issues with tides or anything like that on Friday, but Saturday is going to be a tough day around the community. We're checking things around our buildings, making sure our generators, the schools that have generators have everything topped off. The custodians have been looking at all the roofs to make sure there's nothing floating around up there that could be, sent to airborne with any storm. So we should be okay for the school front, but there's some events that might be impacted over the weekend on Saturday. Well, Sunday is supposed to be fine, so we're happy for that. So, but again, the coordination with the police and the fire and the DPW and the schools and was in effect this afternoon. It's an ongoing thing there, so we're real fortunate. Yeah, so for that.
Really increase the time.
I know. I want to thank Mary Price and Marshfield Facts for hosting the annual vigil for Overdose Awareness Day. It was 2 Wednesdays ago, and it's been an event that we've been a part of since my first year here. That was back when the town had the Marshfield Drug Task Force that was overseen by the selectmen, and then over a few years, Facts kind of morphed into running the event. And they've had it at the Harbor Park the last few years, and it's just a really, really special event. Brings out a lot of folks who've been impacted by overdoses in their family, personal overdoses, and so it was a lot of stories, songs. Folks from the fire and police department spoke about the impact that opioids and drugs are having on our communities across the state. Our Key Club members helped the previous Thursday prior to that setting up the flags at Town Hall Green. All those purple flags represent, unfortunately, the lives lost overdose in the state of Massachusetts on a yearly basis. The number is it's very sad that it continues to stay high, and obviously the work of groups like Facts and other organizations across the state, we're going to continue until that number is zero. But it was a very nice event, and I just want to thank Ms. Price. High school had their open house last week. Huge attendance. Principal Setner did a great job, and the staff were really engaged with the parents. And again, things are already up and running, and it was nice to see that in action. Building something special, an organization that came before the committee over the last year a couple of times, who have managed and done yeoman's work in establishing the sponsors and the donations for our new scoreboard video board at James Anderson Field. They had an event last week to kind of thank the donors and the sponsors, and then we were able to kick things off on Friday night with the football game. I was at the soccer game today, and there was a news there too, and it's just as awesome. Whether soccer, football, whatever it's going to be, graduation, they could have movie nights up there if they wanted to, probably. But it was just nice, and all of the donors and sponsors were highlighted, and they were able to be there to see it in action. And this is a great community effort. Ms. Blake was involved a lot with Mr. Miller, spent hours upon hours working with the team, Vincent Stiles and Mr. Carroll, I believe it was, and countless others. But just a really super partnership between schools and the community, and we have something that is probably one of the best in the state. And
That's cool.
It makes a pretty special, school environment even better. And Mr. Shikoshius and his folks are already building into the curriculum on the television production courses, and Marshfield Community Media is involved in it. So it's so many different prongs of connections between the community. It's a great effort, so we want to thank them. And the community rib cook-off. Saturday, I was away on Saturday, so I couldn't get there, but there's a lot of folks there. I heard Ms. Dargan was there, and they made the social folk walk wearing white to a rib cook-off. I'm sure it would have been all over me, I'm sure. But again, I spoke about it at the last meeting, but these folks have given so many of their resources to so many important groups near and dear to us. Our Weekly Evento program was the recipient of donations from them last year. They will also be this year, along with Facts, again, the food pantry, the North Community Church, working with the youth and adult missions, as well as the Gold Star Wives of America. going to be recipients. So I just want to thank them. They're pretty awesome.
Mr. Greer, did you judge that?
I did, so full.
That's awesome. That is really cool.
I don't know, so we get the ribs that brought over in a little box, and then they're checked in, and maybe they sign numbers with it. So when we have a card, we get a box and it just has a number, so we write down the number, and then we judge it based on appearance, tenderness.
Nice.
For the first round, the second round is just tenderness.
Which ribs won? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. So they were all good then.
Yeah, well, everybody, so that everybody can scan it and they know stuff later on.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Yikes. Nice. That's awesome. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's right now. I just
Talking about ribs.
I can talk about ribs all day. No, I think hungry. Let's move from ribs to lobster because it is
Hey.
lobster this weekend.
Next year.
So, we know it's on Saturday and Sunday, or are we looking at another date? We're going to try to stay away from this weekend?
We'll see.
Okay, so for the folks out there looking for Lobster Fest, that we might have a date. The initial rain date was Sunday. I don't think we were looking at hurricane day.
Do your anti-rain dance, everybody, for Miss Braid.
More to come on that.
So the first year, we had these already dated, we still have 5,000 people, so.
No,
Not surprised.
I don't think lobster's going to scare people away. I mean, they'll be there whenever it happens. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Dr. Martin?
All right. So things are underway. The coaches, we were lucky enough to get the additional literacy coach at the elementary, so I'm meeting bi-weekly with them. But they already jumped in at elementary. They started their grade level collaboration times last week in literacy, this week in math. Coaching cycles have started. Amy McAlpine and I are meeting on a very regular basis about PD. Our first early release district-wide day is tomorrow, and there are so many groups going with different things in different areas. So she has that all coordinated, and I will be helping the coaches at the elementary level. So if you are around, you can pop into the high school and the elementary at Martinson, and you'll see all of our professional staff doing different things. So one other thing, our grant approvals for Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV have all just been approved as of today, so that was good news.
That's awesome.
So our Title I tutors are all set to start next week.
That's great news.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Ms. Scalaro?
Okay, I will just briefly highlight a few of the big picture priorities for special education this year. So first, we have tiered focus monitoring, just an update on where we are with that. So Marshfield is in an on-site monitoring year for tiered focus monitoring process that's conducted through the Office of Public School Monitoring at DESE. So as you may recall, tiered focus monitoring is the 6-year cycle through DESE that monitors the implementation of special education and civil rights requirements. So last year, Marshfield completed our self-assessment process, so in Group A. So Group A focuses on standards related to student identification, IEP development, program and support, services, and equal opportunity. So throughout the year, we reviewed the MPSD policies, processes, procedures related to those identified standards. We examined student records. We submitted the required documentation to DESE through their online portal. So this year, in May, representatives from DESE will visit Marshfield to conduct an on-site review and interview selected staff and administrators. So once that visit is complete, DESE will issue a report, which I will share with you, and they will identify any areas that require continuous monitoring or improvement or corrective action, and then from there, the following year, we will work to monitor our improvement and implement our corrective action plans if necessary. So I will be sure to provide you with periodic updates throughout that process. Also this year, DESE is rolling out a new IEP form. So Marshfield will use a train-the-trainer model to instruct staff on the new processing form during the second half of this year, so that we will be ready to implement that new form in the beginning of next year. And then finally, working closely with Amy McAlpine, we are excited to be providing specialized professional development to many of our special education teachers and related service providers, specifically related to math disabilities, identifying math disabilities and appropriate interventions for math disabilities, and also best practices for students with language-based learning disabilities. So, a lot going on.
Thank you. I think a common theme I keep hearing is working closely with Amy McAlpine. That's very interesting.
Kind of important.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Mr. Miller.
Real quick.
You never need that.
Yeah, real quick, just want to get home and eat. Just a quick recap on the bus transportation fees. The registrations and payments have come to pretty much a halt. We're still dealing with a few here and there. So tomorrow, an email will be going out because we still have about 55 students at the middle school that have not responded, and we have approximately 400 at the high school that have not. So those high school students are ones that are driving in their younger siblings. So, but we're going to work through that process. An email will be going out. Students will have to attach their badge to their backpack, and we're going to start the process of identifying those students that may be hopping on the bus and maybe hopping on a different bus, because we're hearing that may be happening as well. So over the next, it's been 2 weeks since school started, so we've worked all that through, and we're not going to necessarily kick a student off the bus, but we're going to have to start contacting parents and working through that process to make sure they have their ID to get on for their route. That's it.
Thank you very much.
I heard in reference, correct, high school, are there no students at the elementary level that,
There may be one or two,
okay.
but almost 100%. The elementaries, parents are more involved. They're easier to get in contact with. The schools individually call every family and track
those
them
numbers
down.
at the high school, middle school, 99% of them aren't don't want to take it because they get rides or they're driving themselves, but they just never let us know one way or the other.
They
So
think
that's-
no answer is a no
Right.
answer.
Well, at this point, the no answer is no
Yes,
answer.
it's no answer. Yeah. Understood.
Because they've been contacted many times.
Right. Any subcommittee reports at this time? Okay, seeing none. Before we take a motion to adjourn, and I greatly apologize, I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting. Yesterday was the anniversary of September 11th. If we could just have a quick moment of silence for the lives lost on September 11th, 2001. Thank you very much. The next meeting scheduled is September 26th, 2 weeks from today. We will be right here in this room. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved from Ms. Breen. Is there a second? Second from Mrs. Dargan. It's a roll call there. Ms. Pizarski.
Dargan?
All three.
Mrs. Brady? Mr. Costa?
Yes. Thank you very much, folks.